Hello and welcome to all. In today's session, we'll see complete roles and responsibility of software tester or a full stack QA. So this video we will explain software testers role and responsibility including the manual testing, automation testing, API testing, database testing, performance testing and AI powered testing. Okay, remember this video is very useful for software testing freshers or the QA engineers and the beginners preparing for software testing interviews. Okay, so we'll start with manual tester, or we also call a functional tester. Okay, so functional tester responsibility start with the requirement analysis. Okay, so here we need to understand the business requirement document or software requirement specification documents or the user stories. Okay, then we need to identify the testable requirements, and once we understood the requirements, okay, we need to write a test case design. Okay, in any test case management tool. Okay. So we need to identify or write a test scenarios. Then we need to create a detailed test cases. We need to identify the positive and negative scenarios. Okay. And while doing the test kit design, we also need to understand the test data preparation. And we need to create a valid and invalid test data. We also need to coverage the edge cases. And if any test data required for specific test cases or specific scenarios, we also need to create a time of test data or the test case design. Then once our test case design and test data is ready, then next is the test case executions. Once we deploy the build, okay, code is available, then we'll move to the test case execution. Okay, so here we'll execute the test cases, we'll perform the exploratory testing. Okay, then while executing, if we identify bugs, okay, then we'll report the bug. Okay, so we'll log defects with proper steps. We'll attach the screenshot, logs, videos. Okay, so that a developer will also able to replicate the issue. Then it's again it's not only QA's responsibility logging a defects. We also need to track a defect. Okay, we need to work with developers to reproduce the issues. We need to verify the bug fixes once developer fix the issue. And apart from that, we also involved in regression testing, ensure that old features are not broken. Okay, and once regression testing is done, okay, then we need to maintain the test cases. We need to update the test result correctly, and we need to share the reports. Okay. So this is the overall responsibility of manual tester or the functional tester or QA. The next is a automation tester. Okay, if you are using the Selenium or Playwright. Okay. So main responsibilities like automation framework development. We need to develop a framework. Okay. Then we can develop a framework either any kind of frameworks like page object model, design pattern, or the data driven framework or the hybrid framework. Okay. Here, mostly senior or the test lead are involved. Okay. Then automation script development. Okay. Once framework is ready, okay, we need to start the write a automation script and we need to handle a dynamic element. Okay. We need to write a reusable functions and other things. Okay. Then next is a script maintenance. Okay, we need to update the scripts when UI got changed. Okay. Then meanwhile, we also need to work on the test data management. Okay, like if you are going through the manual test cases, then we need to go through the parameterization, data-driven testing. That perspective, we also need to think. Okay. So if you are using the test engine, then definitely we can use the data-driven that test engine annotation. Okay, data provider, and we'll proceed. Then next CI/CD integration. Okay, so once our every all the script is ready and working fine, okay, then we can integrate in CI/CD pipeline. Okay, and we'll run automated regression suites. Okay, then automation execution. We need to execute the nightly builds. We need to analyze the failures. Okay, and then next is the report generation. Okay, through automation, and we need to share the execution reports to stakeholders. And also we need to keep the improving the test coverage so that we need to identify the candidate for the automation and we need to keep this process ongoing. So this is the roles and responsibilities of automation tester. Then next, API tester. Okay. So if we are an API tester, then first we need to understand the requirement. Okay, we need to analyze the API documentation. We need to understand the endpoints. Okay, then we need to identify the test case. Okay, we need to validate request response. Okay, status code validation. Okay, then we need to execute the API. So we can use the Postman, okay, in case we are doing the manual. Otherwise, through automation, we can use the REST Assure or the Swagger. Okay. Then we need to also verify the response validation. Okay, what is the response structure? Then JSON validation. Then we also need to do authentication testing, okay, token validation. And as part of API testing, we also need to cover the negative testing. What if I provide the invalid parameter in API endpoint? Okay, what is the expected behavior? Then missing headers. Then also we need to verify data validation. Okay, so verify database updates after API calls. Okay, and after that, we can do it API automation using framework. Okay. The next is the performance tester. Okay, if you're using JMeter or the load runner. Okay, first we need to understand the requirements, understand the expected user load, identify the response time requirements. Okay, then we need to provide the workload modeling, or we need to simulate the real user traffic. Okay, we need to develop a test script. So either we can develop the test script in JMeter tool or the load runner. Okay, so remember, we'll start the test script development. Okay. So once the functional tester like give the go ahead, okay, then we'll start the performance testing. Performance testing. Okay. So the basic prerequisite for performance testing is that your functionality should be stable. Okay. Then we'll do the more load. Okay. Then do the execution. We'll do the load testing. Okay. We'll do the stress testing. We'll also do the spike testing. Okay, and we'll monitor the CPU memory uses and the server health. Okay, so we'll see what is the our background server health. Okay, if you're using a background server, or if in case you're using the other servers like MSMQ server, or we have a separate dedicated log server, we'll see the all the server health. And then we'll identify the bottleneck. Okay, find out the slow API. Okay, which API is responding the slow. Okay, if is there any database issues or not. Okay, and then performance reporting. We'll do the analysis of the report and we'll share with the stakeholder. Then next is the database testing. Okay, backend testing. Okay, so here we'll verify the tables, we'll verify the column types. Okay, we'll also verify the key, primary key, foreign key, unique key, all the constraint. We'll check it. Then data integrity testing. Okay, we'll verify the data stored the correctly or not. Okay, we'll also use the SQL queries for this one for backend testing. Okay, we'll also verify stored procedure testing. Okay, whether stored procedure is covering all the exceptions or it's returning the correct value or not. Okay, then data migration testing also will check it if we are doing the system integration testing. Okay, we'll make sure that data is flowing one model to other model correctly through backend as well. Okay, then data consistency validation also will check it. Okay, if we perform the add, edit, then delete or modify operations, okay, the data should get correctly reflected in database. Okay, then backend data verification will also do it using SQL. Then next is a security tester. Okay, so we will identify the vulnerabilities identification. Okay, we'll check it authentication testing, authorization testing. Okay, whether whatever the permission we have give in application, if whether the user is able to access or not. Okay, then data encryption validation when user is providing the user ID and password. Okay, the password should go in encrypted format only. It should get stored in database in encrypted format. Okay, then we'll also do the SQL ingestion testing, cross-site scripting will do it. And for that one, we'll use the some tools here I have mentioned. Okay, Burp Suite and other things we'll use it. Then next is the DevOps QA or the continuous testing engineers. Okay, so here our responsibility is integrate the test automation into pipeline. Then we'll perform the build verification testing. Okay, we'll also call the smoke testing. Then we'll also monitor the environment. Then we will execute through automation test execution. Okay, and and we'll like as a DevOps QA. Okay, we'll do the release validation as well. And after that, we'll ask pro- the end user to start the execution. Okay. Then AI assistant QA engineer. Okay, this is a modern QA role. Okay, so if you see here AI test generation. Okay, we'll use the AI tools to generate the test cases. Okay, similarly, we'll use the smart regression testing. Okay, we'll select the impacted test cases using AI. Okay, and next is self-healing automation. Okay, so basically we'll use AI in automation. Okay, so for example, if our script is using the ID. and that ID is the login button. Okay, but somehow while fixing the defects, okay, development team change the ID to login button user ID. Okay, different name. Okay, then obvious when we execute the same script next time, because of the changing the ID, our script will fail. Okay, but using the AI self-healing automation, okay, our script will not fail. Okay, using AI, it will identify the other, like we can say identification. Okay, and our script will get pass. Okay, instead of verifying the ID, it will provide the constraint or identify the that locator, okay, or that field using the name, okay, CSS or XPath, the different way, and our script will pass. Then we'll also use the bug prediction using AI, okay, and for that one we'll use the Apple tools, okay, and here is a full stack QA engineer, and as a we are the full stack QA engineer, and a modern QA engineer understand multiple layers. And now, if you see, it's our responsibility: UI testing, API testing, database testing, automation scripting, performance testing, CI/CD integration, and obvious AI testing tools. Okay, and if you see here, a modern software tester is no longer just a manual tester or the automation tester. Okay. Now, if you see, today's QA professional must understand UI testing, API validation, automation, performance testing, database validation, DevOps pipeline, and even AI-powered testing tools. And this is what we call a full stack QA mindset. Okay. So, if in case you have any questions or queries, please let me know. Thank you.